What's up, guys? Midwestern RC, and I actually had someone comment on a previous video that someone should do a modified TRX4M FCX24 SCX24 video, and I thought, hey, that's actually a pretty good idea. So today I'm just going to be doing a quick overview of what is done to each car, why I have done what I've done, why I've left what I've left, and then we're going to get out to my outdoor little rock course. And then we're going to do the same line with each car and then see which one does it best. And then I'll discuss kind of while I'm doing all that, what I like about each one, why I think this one can do that and that can't, etc., etc. So first off, we have the ever so famous SCX24. Now this, I actually bought it used. I did convert it to a single cab wooden flatbed. I literally just took a Dremel and hacked out the middle part, left the back on. This is all held in with either glue from a hot glue gun or shoe goo. But now I know about E6000 glue. E6000 glue right here. I'll have a link in the Amazon description below. I think it's a really good Lexan and hard body glue for stuff like this. So let's get into modifications. Now this is a very unique setup for an SCX24. I say that because I haven't seen someone run theirs the way that I'm running mine. So we'll start with the shocks. So I have the hot racing shocks. I have them mounted up really high. I'm not a big fan of a lot of articulation. I like to float wheels over obstacles. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to show you in the video later on when we start running this thing. I have them mounted upside down because it keeps the weight just that little bit lower. Keeping the center of gravity nice and low is a big performance gain with SCX24s or crawlers in general. I have the Furatech Komodo 1400 with, I think it's the Lizard Pro ESC. So it's a tunable ESC. It's really nice. Kind of plugs into the stock receiver transmitter, which I have mounted back here. I have an AGFO RC Amazon servo. I'll put a link for that below. I have ran this servo for more than a year. It has not given me a single issue. It has more than enough power and speed for what I like to do with it. It's super great, and it hasn't burnt out. Even how I have it installed, though, is kind of a ghetto. I don't have the servo mount like everybody runs. I really just use wire cutters. Also, this servo, I use it as a dig servo in my SCX 10.3. I've had no issues with that since either. I am running the Trial, I think they're the Type A wheels. These are the black ones with Proline high racks. I have the stock foams in here. They are vented. The tires are vented. Long story short, I had to glue them on because I was getting a lot of slippage, which I didn't like. I do have overdrive gears in the front. I honestly forgot what percentage they are. They are the overdrive worm gear combo. These are the RC all-wheel drive brass covers, and they come stock on the portal axles. It was a really easy install. I also have the brass boulder guards or boulder covers or something like that. The brass right here. I noticed a big difference with this, though. I noticed I could side hill a lot better and I could climb a little easier. I also have the high clearance links, which made a huge difference, especially since I run the Proline high racks. They're not the biggest tire, so you don't get as much ground clearance. But what I like is that you get a lot of good grip. And with a smaller tire, you're keeping the center of gravity much lower. Now, when I upgraded to the portal axles, I did notice this thing would tip a little more. But how my course is set up, I would get hung up a lot with the straight axles. So I actually really like the portals for that reason. So on to the next car. This is the FMS FCX24. And I haven't really changed much to it. So I hope you're not too angry with me with modified versus modified. I do have the RC all-wheel drive extension kit. The stock wheels on the stock setup probably come up to about here. So adding that extra length, think about it. If the wheels are much shorter, it's going to tip over easier. With this and the wheels much more back like that, and they're kind of high clearance links too. I think it's just a much better setup. I have the stock shocks. They're friction shocks. I don't really mind them. This one gets sticky a little bit. So if it gets stuck on the course, we're going to take care of that. I did hit it with some oil last night, so hopefully it doesn't happen. Now the stock servo in here, I left because it's actually surprisingly pretty good. I mean, look at that. The fact that it can bounce back that quick, that's a really good sign. And then the other thing that I really don't like about this servo horn on the FCX24 is it's like a 40-tooth spline. It's something pretty ridiculous, so they can strip out very easily. So if you get an FCX24, if you like the stock servo, which they're really not that bad, I put a dab of E6000 glue on there, and I put red Loctite actually on this screw, which is a Phillips. It's not a hex. I really wish it was a hex. And then I just carefully drove it in as hard as I could. If I'm going to be replacing the servo, which I have once already, I'm going to be replacing the arm as well. So I don't care that it's basically permanently on there. The ESC and motor in this is stock, and I'll show you why I don't really plan on upgrading it. Because you can crawl incredibly slow with this setup, and you don't need, when you come up to an obstacle like the TRX4M right here, you don't need a ton of sauce to kind of get up something. Like I can just give it a little more throttle, and it's not jumping all around like that. The stock ESC and motor in the FCX24 is really nice. Honestly, the only reason that I would upgrade to a brushless setup, which I may in the future, two things. You're going to get more battery life out of that system because a brushless motor is a more efficient motor. And two, you will get more control and you'll be able to crawl even slower. Now, I have the Little Guy Racing Parts wheels on here. I don't know which model they are or anything. And I also have the Trail Kings. I'm really not a huge fan of the Trail Kings, especially on a foam indoor course. They kind of slide all over the place. I do have the foams modified in here, and I do have them vented. That seemed to help quite a bit. Also, the FCX24 has something that neither of these other crawlers has. It has first gear, and then it has second gear. And having that second gear is really, really nice and really beneficial. All right, on to the newest, and well, on to the newest. I'm not going to say the greatest. This is the TRX4M. What I've done to it, I haven't done too much, but what I think I've done to it, I think is going to transform this vehicle immensely. So these are RC all-wheel drive brass wheels. The stock tires I actually really like. I don't think I'm going to be upgrading them anytime soon, as they've been doing pretty good for me. I have not messed with the shocks. Really, all I've messed with is I changed out the wheels. I put a Reefs Smart 179 micro servo in there, and I put the Furatech brushless system in this as it needed it. Oh, and I put the crawler gears in as well. I think with all these upgrades, you're going to like your TRX4M much better. You do have to change the receiver and transmitter, which, yes, this is a Traxxas one. I had a spare lying around. I had a spare TQI Traxxas receiver lying around, so I had to totally change that. You can put it to any setup you have. If you have an old RC car lying around, you can change it to that. You can just pluck the receiver and the transmitter from there and put it in here, as long as it's a 2-channel, which all of them are. So now with the crawler gears in here and the Furatech setup, you can crawl incredibly slow. I mean, it's actually a little ridiculous. So I'll demonstrate that right now. You can see the motor is moving and the wheels are actually turning. I'm going to turn the throttle up a little bit more, little bit more, little bit more. And this also has FOC. That means field-oriented control. Think of it like cruise control, where essentially when the car is coming up to an obstacle, just like cruise control in your car, when you're coming up to a hill and your car is set at 60 miles an hour, and you're coming up to the hill, the car will match the power required to keep the vehicle moving at 60 miles an hour That's how I describe FOC, and it's a really nice feature when you're wanting to finesse lines and really get over tricky parts in rock crawling. The body I modified for other reasons. It's a hard body, and it's a lot of weight up top. It's a lot of tipsy-turvy, topsy-turvy, and all that stuff. But enough talking. Let's get out to the course and use these and see how they do against each other. All right, we're out of my little rock garden right now. It ain't much, but it's something. So we're gonna get straight into it with the FCX24. Now, if you're an OG and you've been following me on Instagram, you saw how I made this slide mountain. Neighbors were actually throwing this out, and I turned it into a little crawler slide just using sticks, spray foam, primer spray paint, and textured spray paint. Now I'm already noticing with this RC all-wheel drive extension kit, definitely a lot more controllable and easier on climbs. Again, notice how slow I can crawl, how controllable it is with the stock system, which is super nice. One of the things I really like about the FCX24. Ooh, almost lost it right there. All right, let's see how the TRX4M does. All right, TRX4M going up. Much quieter system. Difference between a brushless setup and a brushed motor. Also getting hung up on those straight axles. Now this, again, per the title, is a micro video, micro crawlers. So I know, you know, it's not a 24th scale, it's an 18th scale, blah, blah. But you can use them on the same course. So we're just gonna keep calling it micro crawlers. This one, again, doing pretty good. Struggling a little bit just because of the lack of the clearance with the portals. Now right here, should be able to really make sure I don't nose over. Letting that FearTech system do its job. Getting these back tires to clear. Now, in a situation like this, you want to watch the back tires. If they start lifting, you give it gas. Because you want that front to keep forward and not tip over. All right, that did pretty good too. Onto the SCX24. Now this is by far one of my favorite crawlers, just because it was the first one I really started modifying a ton. I think it's one of the longest RCs that I've owned. I've been into the hobby again for a little over a year now, probably almost. It'll be 2 years in June. It's January at the time of this video. And I've gone through a lot of RC cars. A lot of selling, a lot of trading. I'm sure a lot of you know how that goes. But I think this is one of the cars that I will never sell, no matter what happens. If anything, I'd rather just put it on the shelf and look at it for the rest of my life. Kind of struggling right here. Course is a little wet. I'm going to take a little bit of a different line with it. There we go. All right, now I know this descent, definitely got to creep into it and make sure it doesn't go over. This is definitely a part where I might need to gas it out. There we go. Did pretty good. Ooh, got a little hairy right there. Just the shorter wheelbase, you know, so geometry and stuff is going to happen. All right, on to the next obstacle. All right, this is a really fun line right here. Most of these cars can do it, so we'll just see which one struggles the most, I guess. Now the FCX24, I haven't done this line with the extension kit yet. I'm hoping that it helps. It really should. As a longer wheelbase, you'll be able to do steeper climbs. And I am making it up this so much easier. Getting a little hung up. Might have spoken too soon. This is where some FOC on a brushless system would be nice. This is also where different tires would be nice too, to be honest. All right, so there's one down. We're gonna try to take a little different line with it. Stay more to the left. Trying to get that front to hook. All right, so we're gonna try something that we can only do with the FCX24. I'm gonna try to give it some wheel speed over this. There we go. That right there is why the FCX24 having a second gear is awesome. That is what helped get me up there right there.
Well, miss, I guess I'll be on my way now. You just give me a...
All right, so this has been attempt 3 or 4 on trying to get this thing to descend. I don't know if it's the hard body. There we are. Or if it was just the line choice. I definitely feel like if I didn't have the body on at all, I would have been able to make that so much easier. As hard bodies just add so much weight up top. All right, onto the TRX4M with this line. Again, being a hard body, this thing can be a little tricky to maneuver up just because the hard body adds so much weight. Really changes the center of gravity. Crawl up here. This did take a few tries with the FCX24. We'll see which rig can make it up first shot. I do like the steering angle of the TRX4M. I think we might have to back up a little bit. That's okay. We're following freestyle rules where you can actually reverse without getting points like in a competition. The FCX system is really just helping me out a lot right now. FOC is doing its thing. I'm trying to get it to pivot. Ooh. Ooh, almost lost it. Gonna back down. We're gonna try to rocket up it. I think that's what we need to do. It's just about the line choice. All right, let's go for that rock. There we go. See, a little bit of wheel speed and experience. That's what you need. Same thing as the FCX24. I'm just curious on how well this thing is going to do being a hard body. And right here, just to finesse it down and over this, you need a lot of finessing. FCX system doing amazing. Tires aren't too bad either. Letting that reef servo just wiggle us down. Nice. First try. FCX24, that took a few tries. I'm going to steer into that rock to the right. Point my tires to it right now. That back left needs to just slide down kind of quick right now. There we go. All right, first try with the TRX4M, which granted, you know, it is an 18 scale. It is a little bigger, so it kind of has more of an advantage, but there are times when smaller rigs have advantages as well. All right, time for the SCX24. We'll see what it does. Now, I'll say this right off the bat. I do like the portals on this thing. It was a great upgrade, but it definitely changed the center of gravity. It's kind of harder to do this line now, but that's where these small profile Pro Line high racks kind of make up for it. They really just grab. They are the Predator compound, I believe. They definitely function better when it's warm out. It's 32 degrees out right now. Not too bad. No wind. So no wind is also good for videoing, actually. Look at that. First try. Didn't really struggle at all, too. Now, being a short wheelbase and being the smallest car, I think the SCX24 is going to struggle the most right here. This is really going to be about line choice. Didn't expect that rock to move. Just going to let the motor and the ESC do the work. All right, attempt number 2 for the descent. I knew we would struggle with this. It's the best thing about crawling those. You know, you really got to think about what all 4 tires are doing. You just got to keep thinking. It's a nice way to tune things out, you know, like stresses that you're going through with life. There we are. Had the servo do a lot of the work. Now that back left, see how high up it is? That can tip that front over. So we're gonna kind of gas into it and go to the right with the tire once I know that that back left is gonna clear. There we go, just like that. Steered into that other rock. Did pretty good. All right, so this is gonna be the side hill challenge. So we're gonna try to come up, go around, and then turn around and then come back. If a truck cannot do something, I'm just gonna start it on the other side and I'll say how many times I tried to get it done. So this, you wanna get her high up, get that corner to hook, perfect. Oh. There we are. Nice steering angle on this FCX24. Wish the SCX24 had that much of a steering angle. Again, not minding the reverse. This is freestyle rules, not comp rules. Just trying to show you guys what these things can and can't do when they're modified. I feel like if you're watching this far into it, you're pretty invested. Please drop a comment down below and let me know if you want me to do this test again using the same tire on each car, because I feel like that'll make it a more even playing field. Like I can run the Hyrax on all three of these. Oh no, because that is the other thing with crawling, is a lot of it is about your tire selection. Just from experience, I know that it's not gonna be able to do that line right there. So it's gonna come back into it. Surprisingly, it can side hill pretty good right here. I'm gonna kind of come down because I know I can't side hill as good. Now I know they do have brass options for the FCX24. I think if I had those right now, there we go, getting a little better position with the servo. But if we had the brass portal covers on here, definitely be able to side hill a lot better. We're about to lose it though. We're just gonna do the hand of God right there. Try to finish this little test. FCX24, not really that great with the side hilling. All right, I actually lost it at a restart. All right, so just for proof, we got that Lex, or the hard body removed. I'm just trying to show you guys how much center of gravity really makes a difference with these things. This thing should be able to side hill a lot better now. Also, about my tire comment earlier, these are very modified tire foams to the point where they really can't side hill that much. Something like a tire insert, like a 3D printed tire insert, would help these out a lot. But notice how much better we can side hill just with the top off, with the body off, whatever. Let's see if we can cross over to that red rock without tipping. Get that front tire to kiss. Smooch. Nice, see that? Could not do that with the hard body on as it tips at the end. All right, TRX4M side hill challenge. Let's just see how it does. I'm curious myself. These brass RC all-wheel drive wheels really keep the weight down low. Small profile tire for the size of the vehicle. And from what I see a lot of other people running on their TRX4Ms, they run these big, gigantic tires. Not my style. If that's your style, that's cool, but it's another thing that I think everybody needs to take into consideration is everybody has different driving styles. Everybody has different things that they just enjoy better. You know, some people like watching the big flex and everything like that. Some people like all the scale goodies. Some people are solely performance based. I feel like that's where kind of I'm at with the crawler scene. So kind of freestyle back into here. so we can set up for a better line. I can do this first try. That really shows, kind of proves me wrong too. With a hard body, you can still side hill pretty well, as long as it's set up good. I mean, plastic wheels on this thing, I would not be doing too hot right now. But these brass wheels are just heavy, keeping that center of gravity nice and low. Also, it's a straight axle. You got to keep that in consideration too. Portal axles, just they raise the front of the truck, letting that reef servo just kind of reposition me. So I'm just at a better angle. I'm gonna try to make it to the red rock. If we can do that, I consider this a big win. If we flop, we flop. Also, I can't really see what the front end is doing. I'm kind of guessing. Yep, we might step the gas out of this or not. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Oh my gosh. Check that out. Front tire's lifting. That's all right. Now, doing angles like this, see how I have that front left kind of hooked? That'll actually kind of anchor the whole truck down, so it won't slide off then. See what I'm saying? Oh, now it's floating, but I know I got good grip. I don't think I can make it over that big gap right there. I mean, that's a few inches wide right there. So what we're gonna do is just try to position it better by using the servo. You get the truck into a good position, just like this. Use that servo to settle everything down. Steer the truck so it levels out. There we go. All right. TRX4M is doing really good on the side hill test. This is where things might get a little sketchy. I might actually just bump it. There we go. How's that for a side hill? Nice. TRX4M did very good on the side hill challenge. Nice. All right, time to see what the SCX24 can do. I'm very curious, as I have not done the side hill test right here since I've got the portals in. I'm already liking it. I'm already wishing I had more steering angle. That's the thing about driving 3 different trucks back to back, is you really learn what advantages one has over the other, you know? There we go. Especially when I can freestyle this thing, which you almost need to because it doesn't have the greatest steering angle. You know, like that's why I added the overdrive up front. If you're not aware, overdrive will actually help the turning radius. It'll improve the turning radius of the vehicle as well as helping it climb. Now right here, I want that back right to kind of cross over and float. This is why I'm not huge on articulation, because if it went down into that crack, I'd get hung up right there. So see how yep, floating over. That right there, my friends, is why I'm not huge on articulation. If you are, no issues with that, that's cool, but it's just not my driving style again. Turn around, do it again. Now with this kind of, you know, ghetto setup that I'm running, what I'm hearing right now, I don't know if you can hear it on the camera, is I'm gonna pause. It's the battery touching that outrunner motor a little bit, which it's okay, because once I get it over this, I'm gonna fix it, but we're gonna try to make it over the crack. I'm gonna try to show you guys why I don't like a ton of articulation. Floating that left front up to where I want it. How's this for a side hill? How is that for a side hill with portal axles? Oh no! Still impressive. So we're just gonna pop it right there, finish this side hill test. Now also, I think one of the benefits of the SCX24 is that I know this rig very, very well, especially on this course. As I do that, you know. All right, let's let her push into that, come up. I want that front left to get over, but I also want that front right to kiss. Front right is kissing. I'm hoping that holds me in place. There we go. Wish I'd dig right now because I would get it to pivot left a lot more. We're probably just gonna have to gas and steer out of this, but just for the camera, I'm not gonna do that. See if I can surprise myself. There we go. Pretty good side hilling. Not bad, not bad. All right, so this next test, we're gonna go up over this rock, cross that little bridge, down and around. This kind of just is a good all-around test. And that's why we're gonna be finishing with this one. So with this rig, I don't wanna crawl up, come down. Want that front right to kiss. Almost lost it. Almost lost it right there. Ooh, almost lost it right there too. Oh, overshot it. Oh, nice. Nice save. Hoping it's not too wide. The length actually might not be beneficial this time. We're doing good so far. Sometimes you need a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater grind over this thing. Like that. Gonna let that pivot the truck. It's okay. Now, I don't want to bump her out, so I want that front right, yep. To do that, push it up. Ooh, plush. Not gonna lie, I'm very surprised that that did that on the first try. This RCL wheel drive kit, super awesome. One of the best upgrades I think you can do for the FCX24. There we go, not bad. First try, first try. All right, on to the TRX4M. We're gonna see how it does. Honestly, I have no really thoughts on this, so we'll just see how it does. I think the biggest thing I'm worried about is just the lack of clearance, really, with this thing. Being a small profile tire, being a straight axle, being a scale body and everything. Letting that Reef Smart 179 just help kind of, almost like a dig function, get me to where I want to be. Kiss that, smooch. There we are. Nice. Let's make it over to the bridge. I don't know what to name this section yet. If you guys have a name for it, drop it in the comments below. I'll pin it. Best comment wins. It's doing really good. So far, so good. I always jinx things. Gotta stop doing that. Doing real good. I could not do this line with the stock system, let me tell you. This Furatech setup and the Reef servo. Might have to cheese the bumper a little bit. Yep. See, that's why it's sometimes just better to come up at an angle with things so you can get that tire to do what you want, make the contact, and then clear everything else, like the bumper in this case. Uh-oh. As long as we don't flip. Ooh. Nope. All right, TRX4M did not pass the test. Let's see what the SCX24 does. Being the smallest rig and the smallest tire, it's just going to act totally different. Hopefully we don't tip right here. I think we're going to tip. Wow, check you out, girl. All right, let's see how it does over here. This is going to be the hardest part, I think, for me. Navigating over it with this limited steering angle I'm talking about. Not doing bad. Not doing bad at all. It's okay if we grind down a little bit. See how I was kind of throttling that? That was because I wanted that front end to spin. Oh. I think we're at a good place where I can turn to the left once I get close enough and drive that front right tire into the rock, lifting it up just like that, turning the other way. Perfect. Perfect. High clearance links doing their job. Slow crawl, FureTech doing its thing. That's what's up, man. This is such a fun little rig. I know we can do the rest of this, but let's just make sure. All right. All right, so that was that. My outdoor course, the slide, the side hill test, the climbing, the descending, the freestyle. What do you guys think did best? Do you guys want to see more videos like this? Which one was your favorite? Let me know in the comment. Please like, subscribe, follow, do all that other YouTube stuff. Until next time, guys, Midwestern RC out.